What's up guys, Buster275 aka Original Ranger Fan at Ranger Board, doing my first comparison video. I've seen a lot of people do the comparison between the 2010 Megazord and 1993 Megazord slash Zy-Rangers mecha. So I decided I'd probably be the first person to do an actual video comparison between the 93 figures and the 2010 figure. First thing you can notice is the size difference, the Automorph being on the left, the 2010 being in the middle, and the Bike Ranger figure being on the right hand side. The Automorph is about 5.5 inches tall, 2010 being 3.34 inches tall, Bike Ranger being roughly about 4 inches tall. Alright, start with the comparison. First, do the Automorph, all the articulations that you have. First, the hinge joints at the knees and at the hips. You can only bend it up and down. At the arm, for the arms, hinge joint at the elbow. Hinge joint, and 360 joint for just above the elbow, and the ball and socket joint for the forearm, as well as the Automorph feature that the other ones do not have. As you can see, this has the holster for the Blade Blaster weapon. The screws are pretty rusted, unfortunately. This is due to the age, and this is not, I should also like to note, this is not the Automorph from my Power Ranger collection, if you saw the video for it already. And the coin is actually painted red. I don't know why, as well as I believe this was because of licensing in '93 that they put the Tyranno coin symbol on his chest. Next, the Bike Ranger figure. First, the knee, again, hinge joint, bends back and forth. The hip area, ball and socket, you can go out, bend up and back. Then the arms are identical. You have the hinge for the elbow, slash able to turn, and the ball and socket at the shoulder. The head is able to turn, unlike on the Automorph. The coin is red. I believe with the Japanese version this was actually somehow able to light. I do not know how. It was something that they got that we didn't when they came over here. Now finally, the 2010 Ranger, if he wants to stay up. I doubt he does. Ball and socket joint, like with the Bike Ranger figure, goes side to side and forwards. Knee joints ends the same way. Thing they added on was able to turn the ankle. Next thing, the arm, ball and socket at the shoulder, so you can move it all around. Regular bend at the elbow, but they did not include the 360 degree turning, but they did add in below the elbow for the wrist, so you can turn that instead of above it. Alright, now on to the weapons real quick. First thing, the Red Ranger Power Swords. The Bike Ranger figure in Japan, in Europe is the same weapon as the Automorph Red Ranger. They threw pegs in the hands. Let's see here. If you can see, in the black one is for the 2010, the gray one is the 93. A little bit better looking with the 2010 one, due to basically they can make better weaponry, as well as this was not meant to combine like the 93 weapons do into the Power Blaster. The Power Blaster came with the Putty Patroller. It's a little bit thicker, looks a little bit more like a real sword, as well as you can see with the 93 you have the spot for the button on the hand, as well as when it goes into the Power Blaster where it can hook onto the Power Axe. The sword is flat out straight with this one, with the 2010. Next on to the Blade Blasters. Just about the same thing. Unfortunately, I guess when they made the original one, they forgot to pull back the top part weapon for the Blade Blaster, or they did that just to keep it relatively easy to hold in the holster. Because as you can see with the 2010, they pulled it back. They have the hole for the Ranger put in his hand and the handle. In the 2010, they actually kept the little teeth on the bottom part. On the far side, you can see the little dot up there. That's so they can put it into the Ranger, because with the 2010 they did not bother putting a holster in it. With the past two, Operation Overdrive and RPM, they've stopped making holsters for the Ranger figures, and basically they threw a little tab onto the weapon so they can just push it on in. The next weapon is actually an exclusive to the 2010 series, the Thunderslinger Blade Blaster combo. As you can see, they added the one-time only weapon in the series. Basically, when Tommy and Jason were not getting along, getting ready for a karate tournament, Zordon sent them on a separate errand to get the weapon itself. And this was also when they introduced Titanus in the series. It helped them fight off the first batch of Rita's super putties, which could not be destroyed with any of the other weapons. The power weapons, like Zack's axe, cut them in half, but they were able to reform into twice as many soldiers. And that's the Thunderslinger right there. It's able to take one putty out with one blast. Then the last is something I wanted to add in here. What I like better about the 2010 series than the 93 is with Billy's Power Lance. I only grabbed one from my one half from my collection, but as you can see, with the original 93 version, they had this little connector right here that was basically very impossible for the Power Lance to connect and basically stay together. It'd fall apart in weapon mode, so basically you had to use it like a pair of sais. Keep one in each hand. Meanwhile, in the 2010 series, they actually released two versions of the Power Lance. The first came with the initial Ranger, basically the Blue Ranger from the set. He had one that would not break apart. It would be good solid right here. And then later on they released a smaller set with fewer articulations. I think they got rid of like the elbow bending and the knee bending, and they released this with it, the lance that can break apart. After about 2 months, they also released each one of those Rangers individually at Big Lots or the discount deal store sets. So that's where I got this one from. It's a good weapon. I gotta say, a lot better compared to the original. Now let's see here. What else is there? Then the one, I gotta say, between the three figures, as much as I loved the original Automorph, it was a great figure back in the day, the 2010 is actually a lot better. I know a number of guys on Ranger Board basically said they hate the size of it, as do I. I hate the size of it. I would love it to be taller. But actually thinking about it, if either they do go back to it or they keep going them up, keep the size the same, I hope they do that for the rest of the figures in the series, like for all the other seasons, do that somehow. Because with every single monster from all the series, with the Rangers being the 5.5 inches, it makes the Ranger almost as tall as the monster. As tall or taller than the monster, except for I believe it's in Lost Galaxy, Camp Mutiny, and his Buccaneer enemy buddy. They're basically the only two figures that would be completely taller than the Rangers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but oh well. And also, but the thing is about the 2010 series is actually with the Green Ranger. Because as you can see, I got my Green Ranger figures out. 2010 Green Ranger. The shield is actually part of the chest, so it cannot be removed. And recently, well, I should say a few months ago, they actually released a second set of 2010 Rangers with the Rangers with Green Ranger armor, except for the female figures, and the Green Ranger actually comes with more Green Ranger armor. I don't know what to say. I was not big on that. I thought that they would release a Green Ranger without the armor to basically coincide with the Rangers without armor. But compared to the 93, where they actually had break-apart armor, I used 2 pieces of tape to keep this on, because the Green Ranger armor cannot stay on Tommy when he's has his civilian head on. As well as they actually did add something different for the Green Ranger morphers. 2010 is actually painted gold, while they neglected that with the 93 release. Alright, that's it for my first review. Hope you guys liked it. I will probably do another one comparing the female figures. Just the figures, no weapons, since they're basically the same thing. Thanks guys, that's Original Ranger Fan, aka Buster Sword 275, first Power Ranger review. I'll probably do, as I said, I'll do the female figures as well as the Operation Overdrive Megazord versus the Boku Ranger mecha.